to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash,
Trump, you're a winner, baby,
and Dale Hummel.
Ukraine is a country in Europe that exists near another country called Russia.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello. And
Ryan.
Dale, we have officially been unburdened by what has been.
We have. So you have current events for today? You have some information?
No, nothing happened.
The single biggest day in recent history.
So obviously everybody in America knows Trump won. Duh. But here, I'm going to try to keep this short. So here's the thing. If they hold the House, like it's expected to, it's not official, but Republicans supposed to hold the House.
I'm even feeling comfortable with that. And once I'm comfortable, that's a pretty big, I'm pretty cautious.
They've got the Senate. They've got Trump. And he's already done this. And now there are no Rhino Republicans left, no Never Trumpers left, all this other stuff. He's going to kick so much ass in the first 2 years. It's going to be bigger than incredible. It's going to be crazy because he don't have to worry about getting reelected or any of that bullshit.
If that goes well, guess what that does for the midterms? It even gives you a further advantage.
I don't think he's even thinking about.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that's a byproduct. If it
I don't
goes
even
like
think
we
he's thinking
expect
about it
it
right now. And the one thing that you bitch about Trump a lot, he doesn't admit his mistakes very often. The one thing he has said consistently was the biggest mistake he made in the first term was he hired the wrong people. He will not make that mistake this time. He has said that consistently.
And I believe if they hold the House, he will take full advantage of having the White
House. Oh, that's what I'm
House.
saying. He's fixing to kick so much ass. It's going to be.
It won't happen.
Incredible.
I don't think he's going to. And again, I'm not trying to divide the world or the country.
I am. Y'all all get your out of our country. All of you. Whoopi, Joy, J-Lo, all you bitches. Leave.
I did not look up when.
Cardi B, all you bitches. Go. Taylor Swift, get out.
Oh, my. I want to watch The View. Maybe it's already on. I have no idea when that show is on.
Like 5 minutes. We're not.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. That is going to be the best meltdown on the planet. I can't. I'm sure I can find it on YouTube or something. I don't even know what channel it's on.
I think NBC. I don't.
I am so excited that I can't even put into words. This impacts, and I can use my family as an example. And I overreact to everything. We're aware of that. Last night I was telling Ryan I was scared to death when.
No, I have all the receipts. It was not scared to death. It's over. Yeah. The world's coming to an end. He's lost. He lost North Carolina. Okay. He's lost Pennsylvania. I have all the receipts. Anybody wants to see all of Dale Hummel's text messages? I have the receipts.
Okay. When the exit polling first came in and democracy is at the very top
was only on
of the
CNN.
concerned.
It
also they brought it up on Fox as well. They did. They discussed it on Fox, and that put me into a little bit of a panic. The problem is it's the opposite of what it should be. If democracies remain concerned.
You clearly didn't listen to Fox because the only time they brought it up, two people said, and one was the Democrat, by the way, it depends on what your take of democracy is.
And my fear is the ignorance in some of the population is taking it as though what they were pushing from that side, that Trump will be a dictator, all of these things, rather than the fact that Kamala gets there without even a democratic process. It's amazing to me. But that put the fear of God into me when I saw it was a number like 60-some%, I believe.
63%. The biggest concern on CNN was democracy. But again, that is how you interpret it.
And I
is democracy afraid that Trump's not going to be a tyrant? Or is democracy this bullshit with them trying to jail him, all this other stuff? It's how you interpret it.
And in hindsight, I think it was interpreted both ways.
I was going to say, I think it was about half each way.
I do. And that's why the number was so large. Did it panic the hell out of me? Absolutely. And when something like this is going to impact my...
You are lucky that I am a nice person and I do not post.
It's very simple. When something's going to impact my family and especially my children's future to this level, I'm not going to relax until Trump wins California or the entire race is called, period. Until then,
Hold early.
Pretty skeptical. But God dang, am I happy today. I can't...
The one thing that pisses me off, and it may not hold, but they're thinking it's going to hold, no one's talking about him winning the popular vote. No one. Nobody.
I don't think it can't hold at this point. I'm not saying it's statistically impossible.
Why is this not getting brought up?
I was watching CNN more than anything this morning, and they did mention it a couple times. They were much more gracious than MSNBC. By the way, your Morning Joe guy.
They've had practice now.
Morning Joe he has got every excuse in the world. Very angry person.
Speaking of Joes, how do you think Joe Biden's feeling right now?
What have we heard from
Nothing.
Sleepy Joe?
Nothing.
I
bet he is secretly laughing ass off.
I think he is shoving it right up Pelosi's and Obama's ass. That hey, nice job.
Yeah, we've heard nothing from either one of those people.
What about Pelosi, Obama?
No, nothing. Oh, Oprah, get your ass out of our country too. I forgot about you, Oprah. Bye, bitch.
Oh my! I have to say I was very upset about Cuban supporting the chameleon. He did come out he basically conceded for her very early on X.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, this was early. This was before any
Mark Cuban's got a lot of problems. He's transitioning right now. Leave him alone.
I was not I enjoy watching Shark Tank on occasion.
I do not.
And I did not dislike him on there, but it went pretty south.
Him immensely.
Yeah, I can't say I was surprised he came out, but he came out before anybody, any of the surrogates whatsoever, before any calls were absolutely made. I had several people sent me the text. I don't go on X as much as I should. But it was early, very, very early, and pretty much just said, I congratulations.
Oh, how sweet.
Do you want to address?
He can leave too.
Do you want to address Elon, the amazing Elon?
What about?
That he was a major player in this. Everything
I think Elon and Joe Rogan were the two biggest players.
Yes. And Elon, I think, is the reason Joe Rogan primarily came on board.
Yes,
that's what.
And Elon is the one that probably convinced Joe Rogan. But I mean, yeah.
So, are you now an Elon fan?
I've never disliked Elon. I do not worship him like
I think he is intelligent. I think he's out for the greater good. There's a lot of positive there. A lot.
I have never. This is you and Mark Cuban. All he said, congrats, Donald Trump. You won fair and square. That's it.
That was early. What time? Do you see what time?
9 hours ago.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier, but yeah, it was. I thought that was a good move.
I have never said one negative word about Elon. I do not worship at his feet like you do.
I think he's a pretty incredible individual, and what he's done for mankind, I'm not sure anybody else has ever done.
Hey, go Elon! The funniest tweet was Elon's tweet. It's a picture of him with a moving box and the Oval Office is in the background. That's the funniest tweet I saw. Period.
That's a good one. I have not been on social media to see a lot of what's going on, but yeah, it's just a good
one thing that I am disappointed in, and I am disappointed in this, and I don't understand it at all. So, it's not called yet, but in Arizona, it looks like Kari Lake is not going to win senator. She's behind. Now, they're saying she's going to pull it out. But if you go with what's up right now, it hasn't been called. And I do not understand it. I think we can all talk about Kristi Noem and all these other powerful, prominent female politicians.
I thought you were going to go negative on her for a second. I was a little worried.
No, Kari Lake, if you listen to her, if you watched her debate performance in Arizona, this is a brilliant woman. She got beat for governor. She's probably going to, I don't understand it. I do not understand it. That's my one huge disappointment.
I'm with you there. Who? We're going to go way too long. What does the cabinet look like now that they've flipped the Senate? Trump pretty much has an open pass to put anybody he wants in the cabinet. Who will it be?
I have no idea. I haven't even thought about it.
You know the players that will get some position of some sort, and he's been pretty clear about that. What do you believe? Elon will be a part of it. I have no idea if you have to.
Well, that's what I was telling Clifton. Elon is supposedly going to start a new government agency, efficiency department. That is what he's been tasked to do.
But I'm there. I think that could be incredible. He could cut so much shit out of things. It would be really good.
He vowed $2 trillion.
$2 trillion out of the budget.
Yep, out of the budget.
And you know what? There's that much waste in the budget.
His mom said in an interview that he actually thinks he can get $3 trillion, but he's promised $2 trillion. And here's the deal. Elon bought Twitter, whatever. He fired 90% of the employees, didn't rehire anybody. I mean, he rehired, but he cut out 90% of the employees. And they say Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, runs more efficiently now than ever. So there is that to back him up on cutting.
What percentage of the employees did he cut out of Twitter?
90%.
Oh, gee, I didn't realize it's that much. 90. And it's running as well or better now.
That's what everybody says.
You know what? I think we could take that. We could take that same number to our government.
That's what he's been tasked to do. This is just the saddest little. Fox is playing, and I've got it silenced. But this whole little nonsense out in front of where Kamala was going to have her victory party. That's just sad. Sad looking.
I don't think she's going to do it there. I don't think she's going
to. No, not now. But I'm saying last night.
Yes. No, that's. I can't explain this, and I bet we have listeners in the same situation. But when
what do you need explained?
When I woke up this morning, Ryan, you know that I get a little tense and sometimes anxiety and a little stressed and a little negative because of such. I can breathe. My chest doesn't feel tight at all. It relieved everything. How is that possible?
Because you're a freak.
I let this get to me. I promise.
I am going to say this. I was confident the whole way through. I got a little worried on Sunday. I was confident last night. Dale was not. But I am going to say this. If it would have gone the other way, would I have been crazy disappointed? Absolutely. I still say the sun would have come up today and we would have carried on. Would we be worse off as a country? By 1,000,000%. Would there be another woman elected president for the next 50 to 100 years? Probably not. And to all you women, which Trump improved with women by 2 percentage points, by the way. So all this women hate Trump. I mean, he still has work to do, but he did improve in 2%. To all you women and all you ladies, I want to say this. I believe firmly that a woman should be the president of the United States. I think it will happen soon. I think it will happen quickly. The problem is the two women that have had the opportunity were terrible choices.
They were the wrong ones.
Absolutely terrible choices. And I am going to say this, and I have told Clifton and I have told Dale this for 2 weeks. I said if Camel Toe got beat, the next woman that gets her party's nomination, she's going to win, and she's going to win big, because bitches across America, and I say that affectionately, ladies, are going to unite and make sure. It will not be a 3 times and you're out proposition. So Republicans, y'all better find a woman. You better. And hurry.
I think
and she lives in Arkansas.
Just in case they're listening.
Yeah, and just in case.
And I think there's others, but that would be my.
Nope, she lives in Arkansas,
and she'll be ready. She'll be ready. There is a hurdle there, by the way. Your boy JD is incredibly intelligent, composed, and I believe he turned out, in hindsight, or before last night, to be an asset to Trump's campaign. And I would have told you absolutely not when he was first chosen.
JD Vance is the equivalent of Gavin Newsom on your side.
I am telling you,
sociopath.
His ability to speak, his apparent intelligence, his
You're
ability
saying
to
all
keep
the same
composure.
things that you say about Gavin Newsom, who you despise.
Gavin has
He
has
is the equivalent of Gavin
but
Newsom.
I don't believe
just
he's
on your
lying
team.
to you like Gavin.
Oh, bullshit.
He's saying
Whatever.
the same thing Trump is. Just
He
in a
was the
different
first one
manner.
that called Trump Hitler. The very first person.
I am not arguing that.
The very
I'm
first
telling
person.
you, my exposure.
I
to
said
him
last
from
week, I said this week, and we're not going to talk about this more. He's got 2 years to prove to me he can be the president of the United States, and I wish him luck.
For the record, he's already proven it to me.
You also wanted Don Juan DeSantis to win.
I would have been perfectly fine with him as well. There were several that I could be good with. However, there's none of them that are going to enforce the policy that Trump does.
So much.
The concern would be and who, I think maybe Kelly. I don't know who. I don't know who said it last time.
I have this one question before I forget it. What does she do now?
Who?
Hamilton.
Oh, I think
she's not a senator.
No, she's banked enough money that she doesn't do anything. I don't know what it'll be, a lobbyist of some sort. There's nothing she can do.
I mean, this is not something she can recover from, but she can't go back into politics.
No, she's done. I assume a lobbyist. I don't even think she's an effective lobbyist. I don't. I'm probably a little too. I'm probably biased.
We won't, but I would love to do a Beyond the Circus on all the things they did wrong in the Democratic campaign. And it is proof, because this is not close. Nobody on any network is saying this was close. And time after time after time again, whether it was to you, maybe sometimes on this podcast to Clifton, I was like, they are making so many mistakes. It's just insane to me. And yet they still thought they were going to pull this out. That is Trump derangement syndrome at the highest levels.
It is. And they're there. I remember now that the comment on Fox, Kellyanne Conway made a statement that you and I have brought up many times on this podcast. And it's the same thing that scared me that may keep Trump out of office. Her comments were, if you want that type of resilience, that hardcore policy, you have to accept the personality. And that's the hard truth.
What have I said for 10 years now?
That's what I'm bringing up. Do I think he would have?
You find it very hard to accept it, Dale, whether you want to admit it or not.
Because
I do not.
Because I think of it in this manner, that if he would have been able to tone it down by 20% on some of his comments and adjectives that he used, he would have found his way into the White House much easier. Does not matter now. I don't care what he says. Would say what. My whole concern with all of the personality things is it was going to keep him out of the White House. Now that he's in, I could give a shit less who he offends or what he says.
It's so beautiful.
It is. It is absolutely amazing. But that holds true. I guess what I'm bringing up, it proves the point that you had talked about, that she's talking about. You can't get somebody to fight back and be as resilient and as strong in terms of his personality and views without the other. It just is what it is. It's hard. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. I just think somebody at that level is intelligent enough to know if you modify just a little, not lie, not change what any of your views, just reel it in a little. It just shocks me that they can't do it for the better good to make sure you got in the White House. It worked, so it doesn't matter. But that was a concern for me. No question.
Okay, I got to interrupt. So I just got a text message from, I'm in a group text with Brant Poe, Lauren Poe, and Callie. And anyway, they're watching The View, and Lauren just said, "Oh my God, I'm about to punch the TV."
I was hoping for a meltdown. I can put it out.
No, they are melting down. That's what she. I mean, like she says the whole View needs to be deported.
We really needed like a Joe Rogan break right now so we can watch it and come back and record.
Oh, but anyway, I wish I could, but I can't. I got to get.
I vote for that, Clifton. I vote. You going to vote for it? Okay. I don't know. I mean, we could go on forever about this. Forever. I think we just enjoy the day, enjoy the week, enjoy the next 4 years. I hope this continues for a very long time. And I do not. I know we talked about this, and I think our listeners probably comprehend it to a better level than most. But I don't think most of the population understands, not necessarily that Trump's going to change the world and make everything perfect, but I'm positive that if the chameleon would have got in there, we would have dug into a place that would have been very, very difficult to get back out of. Would the sun come up, as Ryan said? Would the day go on? Would you deal with it? Yes. But I'm telling you, it would have been a battle.
There was an article that circulated, an op-ed, that said if she won, it would set up Democrats to be in power for 100 years. And if you read it, it was kind of scary.
Elon, what was Elon's comments about it? That this is the last chance, that they have immigrants in the battleground states, that if they were in control.
I wonder how many more justices he's going to get.
I haven't paid attention, but I'm assuming there's going to be at least one, won't there?
Yeah, that means that, he would have appointed 4 if he gets 1.
Yeah.
And if you're a Supreme Court justice and you were appointed by a Republican and you are somewhat old, resign. So Trump can.
If you think you're going to die in the next 10 years.
20.
20. Okay. Resign.
Yeah. Get out.
Resign. I don't know that happens, but yeah, I don't know. We're going along. I think if she would have got in, let's say the Senate doesn't flip, and let's say it's totally in control of the Dems, there would have been some things happen, Ryan, that I just don't know that could be reversed, including loading up the Supreme Court a little more, including a lot of the immigrants finding a way to vote. It was concerning. I was in bad shape until now.
Here you go.
Are you ready for the not main topic, BTR JLA news?
Top 10 senior cattle. Tyler Poquette, Arizona 1. Caleb Hall, Emmett, Idaho 2. Gus Hooper, Bliss, Idaho 3. Kyle Taylor, Hayden, Idaho 4. Tyler Lindsay, Mississippi. Tatum Poff, Ohio. Shelby Nissen, California. 8th is Morgan Furman of Idaho. Emma Graft, Ohio. And Sarah Danley, Texas.
Congratulations. That is a little spread out, right?
Not really.
Okay, we can pretend. ShowFresh H2O is as logical as your vote for Donald J. Trump. If you're wise enough to make your vote count, you also need to try ShowFresh H2O. Low cost with high return, similar to the stock market the day before the election. ShowFresh H2O can be purchased at your local farm store, show supply trailer, and at swampfox.com. I would also like to inform the world that the Badger Brawl is December 6th through the 8th at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. This is a well-run, well-organized, well-attended event. December 6th through the 8th, Badger Brawl, Madison, Wisconsin. Ryan, the main topic. Decisions have consequences. I gave Ryan like a paragraph of what I want to talk about, and he condenses. He comes up with the best titles for me. The best.
I try.
This relates to decisions shows make regarding the judge they choose to hire. Is that simple enough?
Yeah, and
other decision, not just the judge, but I think that's
this. But this is focused on making judge decisions, and they're primarily just not real good at it. I hate to tell you, people.
But I don't think it's easy.
I don't think it's easy, and we've talked about this in certain different ways. We're going to take it different directions, I'm sure, because Dale came up with this. The biggest problem is number one, there is no set in stone or no overwhelming majority on how these decisions get made. Sometimes it's a dictatorship. Sometimes it's a bunch of people. Very few times is it democratic where the exhibitors vote, all this other stuff. But a lot of this goes back to, it's kind of like communism. A small few or a person makes the decisions for the whole. And That is back-asswards.
And don't forget the snowball effect once that decision's made.
Oh, yeah. If you get to judge one big show and they don't like chase you out with torches and nooses,
I mean,
you judge them for the next 30 years.
It has to be. I can think of very few examples that it was so bad that they didn't continue. 90% or better will continue, irregardless of how they do. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, and they get worse.
I don't know that they always get worse. Some are very much deserving to continue going on, but some are not. And it is truly that simple. So I think just like our election, people will vote whether they choose to attend that show or not. Now, some shows have the advantage that historically this is an incredible event, very prestigious. It's going to take multiple years for the public for there to be noticeable differences in attendance, but it does happen, and we've seen it happen. And I've watched shows rise and fall. I can remember going to the American Royal very early on when we're showing goats, and there was, I don't know, less than 50 goats, 100 goats in the barn. I can remember Phoenix in the early days, very, very low numbers. Same thing at Denver, and I'm just speaking to the goat side. There was a time period there just weren't many going, and there are people out there, families. They're going to follow what is the user-friendly, enjoyable experience. Think about it this way. There's so much that's put into the industry that we love. I can't understand why each and every show, and I understand it's not easy, and I understand that some do their very best and some succeed, but put some thought into those decisions, because it is so important to those exhibitors and to make that positive experience. Everybody's not going to win. And at the national level, Ryan, I'm going to say it's a higher percentage of them that are going that think they've really got a good one and expect to win a class or division, maybe more than any other level. There's a larger number of people going to the national shows. I'm not saying expecting to win it, but be in the hunt, and it just isn't going to happen. So that part you can't control, but we can think about the entire experience from the time you pull in the gate and somebody's friendly about where you're going to go wait in the staging line, moving you through the staging line, possibly some people there to help you unload, organized about where your pins are, where your tax space is. There's a lot more that goes into it that you do have control over. You do not have control over how that family's animal is going to get along in the ring. So do your best to control it.
Okay, but I want to bring something up here that I don't even think I've ever talked to you about. Who's judging affects everything.
It does. Absolutely.
And most importantly, it affects the attitude of the exhibitors before they ever get there. It's in the lead up. It's in the work up too. It's all this other stuff. And granted, it just doesn't affect the people that are there to win. If it is somebody nobody knows, everybody's worried. If it is somebody they've seen time and time again and they're okay with it, all right, they're good. If it's somebody they've seen time and time again that is not a good judge or is extremely political, everybody's pissed off before you ever go.
And I that's where you choose don't go. But again,
nobody does that, including you, sir. Including you. Don't make me call you out.
I have avoided shows in the past. I have
Not
gone
many.
to some. I have gone. No, not
bullshit.
many national shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And if I knew the judges in advance, for example, at our state fair, it would dictate what species we're showing, things like that. Which, yeah, it is interesting to me how all of this happens. And Ryan, how many times can you think of a national level major type show that the general populace showing at that event prior to the show happening has a pretty good idea who's going to win, and it actually turns out that way?
Well, you don't want to say.
Yeah, I do.
The majority.
More than it should be.
I would say.
And sometimes that animal's maybe deserving. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that's not a good start.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It affects everything before you ever get there. And This is the decision that affects everyone.
Absolutely.
And I'm not picking on the people that make the decisions, but I do not think there is near enough effort put into those decisions.
Well, I don't even know that you or I or a lot of people out there understand who is making the decision at some of the, and I'm just going to talk about national shows and the junior market arena because there's so many other things that come into play.
And what I love is when you ask the people that you think or have been told, well, XYZ is the one that makes it, and you go up and, do you decide? Oh, hell no. I don't do it. No one will cop up to being the one that decides. No one.
And there is somebody.
There is zero accountability because nobody, even if they are the ones that make the decision, they don't want to admit it. Now, that should tell you something right there about the decision-making process. When nobody wants to say, yes, I selected ABC, he's our man, she's our woman, and I am proud to tell you that I made that decision. No one says that. That's the problem.
There is no question. Maybe we discuss that. The transparency of who's doing that does not exist at most shows, and not all of them. Some do. Some you know, and this is how it works. I'm going to use Exarban for an example. Several years ago, and I can only speak on the goat side, but I assume it's across species. I have no idea who did it or who came up with it or what committee did at Exarban, but they came up with a method where they're going to ask, I don't remember if it's 5, 10, 12 breeders or influencers or people in the industry to submit 2 names each. And then that same group will rank those individuals. And basically, I assume the low points person ends up getting the call, which I'm not saying that system's perfect, but I commend them for reaching out and doing something different and trying to give some input. And I don't even know how much of the public is aware of that, but I know it's been in place for several years. I know that Arizona made an effort to do some voting at one point. I think there's always a better way to figure out how to do it. And I don't know that they're continued that process, or at least on a full scale. And I'm sure there's at the jackpot level, there's plenty of them that are trying to do those. It can be done. And the bottom line here is, and we can talk about a lot of different things, why not allow some input from those that are exhibiting? Not Facebook popularity, not social media popularity, whatever it is, but those that are attending the show this year should have some say in who's going to attend it next year. I'm not saying give them 100%. If you have a committee that wants to come up with 3 names and the exhibitors vote on it, great. If you want the exhibitors to come up with 3 names and some committee decides, I don't care at what level. I think any level is better than not. And it seems like a very simple process that would keep your families, the exhibitors, happier. And for those of you out there that are making those sole decisions pretty much as a dictatorship, or you're in charge of it, not in a bad way, it is near impossible unless you're in the trenches within each species to know the dynamics that you're working with and who is capable of going in there and not only doing a good job, but not being political about it. It's just hard. I'm not saying there aren't people that can do maybe 1 or 2 species that are that deeply ingrained into those species in the industry, but to get one person, Ryan, that could hire across the board, all species, probably impossible.
No, I don't know if it's impossible, but
difficult. You'd have to get you'd have to have people guiding you that were very, very on top of things. So
okay, and we're going. You want to talk about transparency? So nobody wants to cop up to saying I did it. Also, there's a lot. Wait, hold on. Let me get this out.
Go ahead.
So there's a lot of people that even though they won't admit they picked the judge, we know they picked the judge. How about the people that influence them? And so when that that XYZ is BFFs with ABC, who picks the judge at said state fair, and you go to them, they're like, "Hey, so who'd you tell Home Dude to get, or all this other stuff?" No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't talk to him about that. He didn't ask me. Bullshit. Again, no one wants to admit or back their choices. Why is that?
So-
that
so-
should tell you the system is broken.
What about simple transparency from each of the shows? Here's who's in charge of hiring the judges, period. And I think even just the transparency would be a good start, would it not?
Yeah, because there would be transparency and accountability.
Yep. Sometimes, let's use an example here. Take a state fair. I don't know. You have superintendents within each species. Sometimes one for the market, one for the breeding. It's all different. But a lot of times you assume, okay, it's a superintendent making that choice, or somebody on the sheep or goat committee making that choice, where you've actually got a fair manager and maybe a livestock events person above them that they actually may be the ones. You don't know in that hierarchy. You have no idea who's making that decision. We can make assumptions, but a lot of the times we really don't know. And simple transparency is a great place to start. I don't think it'll be popular, and I get it. I understand why a lot of people just want to lay low and not be the one out there. And maybe they have a just reason that they don't want to be contacted by everybody being pestered on who they're going to get for that. I understand that.
That is part of the job.
Yes,
if those are your
going.
reasons, then you need to give your job to somebody else.
Yeah, it is part of it. And there is no argument for not being transparent, at the least. And then we can make progress from there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the perfect system is, but I think it can evolve. I think each show can maybe have a little bit different system and it still works really well. And I think in general, those in charge of shows, they want to do the best thing. They want to make that show the biggest and the best and all those things. So I think in general, outside of when there's personal benefit from some of those decisions, in general, they're going in a direction, they're attempting to do a good job. So my recommendation is start with transparency, bring in whatever level you can from the exhibitors that previous year. Again, I'm not looking for a popularity contest on social media. I'm looking for input from those that are actually showing at that event. And you can put it on a weight card. You can put it on many different ways, but that person needs to have exhibited there the prior year to have influence, or that's the best direction in my opinion.
And I've said this a million times on here. I'm going to say it again. The fact that the customer, who is the exhibitors, have zero to no impact on this decision is absolutely horrendous. I mean, just horrendous. And also, I want to bring something up. We talked about how if you get one, then you get them till you die, which is unless you're just the worst judge in the history of the world. You know, back when this started, there was no internet, there was no all this other stuff. So these people making these decisions, they're like, well, he or she judged this big show. They didn't die, so they must be okay. We live in a completely different world now, and yet none of these people, it would absolutely shock our listeners to know how many of these people that make these decisions, do they do any research? Do they watch these judges on any of these online shows that you can go to Walton Webcasting and watch them judge? You know, in the archives? No, they don't. They do not. There is no research. There is nothing. They just, yep, here it is. And that is just bullshit. Just bullshit.
I get it. I get it. So I'm sure that the snowball effect is still there. And I think it had more just cause earlier when there wasn't social media. There wasn't a lot of different things. I think at this point, we need some change. We need transparency. We need all of those things. And I know on the surface, it looks like there is a very short list of people judging different species, and especially in the market side of it. But I can promise you there are plenty of capable people, and some of them never get the call. So again, on the surface, it may appear to be a short list. I promise you, I also can verify that I get texts almost on a daily basis asking about a sheep judge or a cattle judge for this jackpot or whatever that is, do you have a list that you could recommend? And usually I'm happy to send a list. There are people out there, but it is a fairly short list at the upper level, because it seems like show A is not willing to hire a judge unless they've already judged a national show. And those that get a shot to judge that first national show do snowball, and it continues. I get it. I understand. It's a little bit human nature. So I don't know what the absolute solution is, but there darn sure are steps that we can take in a direction that's better. Ryan, I want to just throw it out to you to use an example for our exhibitors. I would think that you and I would have a little better idea than most on how this process works and who's making those decisions. Who is choosing the hog judge for the North American International Market Hog Judge?
No.
Okay, tell me who makes the selection for the. We'll go just to another one. Who made the selection? Who's judging the lamb show at the American Royal?
Not a clue.
And again, I'm not picking any judges that are actually judging it or going to be judged. I'm just using examples. What about the majors? I'm not as familiar with it. Is there some transparency there
At the Texas majors?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like Houston, it's Chris Bowman.
With maybe recommendations coming from from a lot of different places.
A lot of recommendations.
Yeah, but he makes the final call.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the transparency I think we at least
San Antonio. It's Brian Ferris. I mean, like, it is what State Fair, Texas. Daryl Real. I mean, like, we can go
at
through.
Least you can answer those questions.
Yeah, I can answer those. Yes.
And you never, I mean, it depends on that individual, what they're going to take, like the ag teacher suggestion. And there's a lot of input that I'm sure comes into them.
Who all, there's a bunch of people, they get lists from ag teachers and county agents and all that. There's a lot of people that give whatever, but I can tell you who makes the decision.
And those individuals can weight the information that comes across their desk however they so choose, assumably.
Right.
No, and that's a good. I don't know, and I'm not trying to pick on any specific shows, but there are national shows that I can't answer that. So
you're on the board at Phoenix, and you can't tell me who picks the judges there.
I am not on the board.
You're on something. I
sat on a committee.
Spent 2 damn days talking to them.
The steering committee, long term. What are the big mile high pictures that are going to make it a better, more enjoyable show?
You still can't tell me who makes the decisions on the judges.
No, I can't tell you the process. I can't. I wish I could. I don't think that there's. I do not believe that. I can. I will do that for you if you'd like, and then I can actually give you. I believe that.
Okay, but I'm not picking on you, and I'm not picking on Arizona National, but you are on a steering committee. You do know most of the high up officials at the Arizona National. You are a sponsor of the show. You do attend the show. You are in all the things. You are on a committee, spent 2 damn days, whatever, to try to help the show get better, improve all the. And yet, you can't tell me who makes the decisions.
Because
you don't find that odd.
No, I'm going to say I'm not sure where they're at in the process of the voting from the previous years, and I'm not sure on the process. I believe that
anybody that voted last year,
that there are 2 people on staff there that are probably going to make the decision together, but I don't know where where they're getting input from.
I'm just saying you don't know.
No, agree. That's a good example. It is what it is. I think if we drop down a level below, let's say State Fair and national shows to the jackpot shows, that's usually pretty simple. There's usually transparency on who did that, and it's a lot of times just one person, or here's a committee that does it. I think even at the county fair level, we usually know it's usually the superintendent, I'm assuming, of each species that's doing the hiring. So there is transparency at different levels. And by the way, we have a great question on the county fairs today, just to get you in the right mindset. Well, what conclusion, what summary would you like to leave the audience with?
What Dale is holding back on is the biggest part of this, I think, because, we're saying that there needs to be more accountability and more transparency on who makes these decisions. Also, I think, and I'm going to call this out because this is what started this, we've talked about on here that there is no certification for judges. Like, I get asked, like Dale gets asked, can you send me a list? No, kind of, yeah, I don't really want to, but maybe. Here's the thing. The reason that there is no set in stone process on this person is certified to do this, and this, because I will use me as an example. I think overwhelmingly, most people would think that I am qualified and capable to judge almost any show of all species. But when you go through a certification process, like the American Board Goat Association has,
I almost forgot all about it.
the American, a small group of people make those decisions. While overwhelmingly, nobody's going to say that I can't judge all species at any size show. I'm telling you, I can find a group of 5 people that hate my gay ass enough that say he's not qualified, he can't be certified.
Well, you bring that up, and the reason that we talked about this, the ABGA just had a certification, I believe, in Indiana this past week, and 40 plus people attended, which they did charge a fee to attend, and
$400
in that ballpark. I don't know the exact number. And I also don't completely understand the process, but I think I can give some input on just the calls that I took over it. And I'm also, before I even go into that, if Ryan or I were there, not that we're full-blood experts by any means, probably the opposite, but capable of sorting livestock, I'm going to guess that we probably would not have gotten certified. Just in case you're wondering, Ryan, because I know a lot of people want you to do it.
I'm not.
I do not think you probably would have made it through there. So out of the 40 plus that attended,
it doesn't matter who it is, Jim Williams, Del Hummel, Ryan Rash, Scott Grinder, whatever, you can find a small group of people that can say that person is not qualified to judge.
Agreed. But I think on this case, I believe it was a point system. And again, I shouldn't speak to it, and nothing against those that they brought in that I assume are certified that were the official judges. It's just not everybody's going to agree, period. It's a process. I think whenever this was invented, I think it was with good intentions, and I'm not opposed to some method of certifying judges, but I just don't know. I'm not sure how to create that method. And I can assure you the problem with this scenario is, and I'm sure I'm going to make some enemies here, but it's okay. Relative to the American Board Goat Association. So I don't know when they started certifying judges, but it was a long time ago. I promise you. And again, I thought they brought in a committee for this certification. I don't want to use any names. That was pretty darn solid. I'd call them in general good livestock people. You could have taken just randomly, pulled 5 other certified judges out, threw them in that pool of people trying to qualify. And my guess is at best, they would have been right at the mean, right at the average. I'm sure some better, some not. But when you do that, it just proves a point that here's people that are already certified that wouldn't be allowed to certify now. Where you, out of those 40, from a mile high view, I'm going to say at least 10 of them are probably as capable as most of the people that are currently certified, yet only 4 of them got certified.
Well, one of the ones that didn't, the American Board Goat Association hired that man to judge their junior national 2 years ago.
Not the full bloods though. The market.
He was still hired to judge at the junior national show.
Correct. But not what they call a point show.
He was hired.
Yes, I'm just trying to explain
the junior national, and yet he can't get certified.
Agreed.
And it was his 4th attempt, I think.
Yes, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
No, and I mean, I know some of these people well that were there to qualify, and anybody can bust a class or have but I get it, and I understand the ABJ has to put some parameters out there. I think we need to look at that system, and I'm not opposed to some type of certification by any means, but the system is there. Whoever and those in charge of that day may have done the best they possibly can to make it work, but I think the system's probably flawed, that there's got to be some changes in the parameters so you can get those good people in.
And I am going to say, I'm that system obviously has some issues, but The other reason that I don't think there's any transparency or any accountability on and why people don't want to say, oh, well, yes, I picked XYZ to judge. That's our woman. He's our man. Because there is no data, I guess is the best word. Like, there is no Yelp for judges. We've talked about this. Dale said he was going to make an app, all this other stuff. But why we don't have something like Yelp for judges where you can rate them, comment, all this other stuff, that would help on the accountability part of things.
I can answer that, and I've dug into this fairly deep. It is difficult to come up with a process that could be functional. You could make it a popularity contest that anybody and everybody can throw things in. It's hard to make a process, and I'm still open to suggestions. And that there's 2 programmers that have contacted me that are very willing to do whatever they can. But when I lay out, here's exactly what I want, I'm not saying it can't be done, but challenging to be done. So maybe there is a couple tweaks, and maybe we don't look for perfect. And I tend to do that. I want it to be absolutely perfect from the beginning. Maybe we need to get it 80% there and let it evolve on its own. But you're right, that is borderline shocking, and a system as such for those that are making decisions as a sole dictator in some of these upper level shows, that gives them one more piece of information. I'm not saying ignore all.
Give them more information, but also, here's the thing: if this system ever happens, and there is, like, I'm just using the word Yelp, then it is a lot easier for the common exhibitor, mom, dad, ag teacher, whatever, to go to the person that is supposedly the one that didn't say, do you see that Dale Hummel is got a 5-star rating and all these comments, all this other stuff, and yet why can't we have that person judge? Or you hired XYZ. Look at all this right here. This is not good.
Accountability.
Right. Why would you pick this person when this is all here? That is important.
Seems very logical. Very, very logical.
But
I like it. I think there's a lot of good things. But you know what today is, Ryan? Maybe one of the best days of my life.
Decisions have consequences, especially for Camel Toe.
They certainly do.
And for Joe.
And for Nancy.
And Barack.
And a few others. Yeah. And a few others. Did you get any more reports on The View before we move on?
They said it's not good.
I'll never be able to see it. I don't record that.
I will find it for you, and I will send it to you.
I appreciate that.
But
I truly do.
Just wrapping this up, decisions do have consequences, and I am going to say again, emphatically, the decision on who is judging affects everyone and everything at your show. So put more thought, more effort, more research, and do better.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciated. Do you have a sponsor for question and answer?
Yes, we would like to thank Basic Animal Health as the sponsor for this week's podcast. Basic Animal Health has a question and answer portion of this week's podcast. Basic Animal Health has created a revolutionary solution designed to keep your animals healthy and happy while going to the shows. It's called Trailer Ride, an all-natural complete health supplement designed to help animals combat the stresses of travel. The product has multiple uses, which like minimizing gastric distress, calming the animal, keeping him safe and comfortable for the ride. Also, it boosts the immune system, supports respiratory health, and contains electrolytes to keep your animal happy and hydrated. If you would like to try Trailer Ride or any of the other Basic Animal Health supplements, go to www.basicanimalhealth.com. Thank you to the Leonard family.
Thank you, Leonard family. And do not forget Badger Brawl, December 6th through the 8th. Extremely competitive show here in the Midwest. Probably one of the most competitive, well-run, all the above. This one passes a lot of my check marks on what needs to be done. So do not forget Badger Brawl, December 6th through the 8th. It is time for question and answer. And the first question is submitted by Jamie. The number of people or youth involved in showing livestock seems to be growing across the board at the jackpot and larger shows, while some counties are losing numbers. What do you see for the future of county shows? That's you, by the way. All you.
Just putting it bluntly.
You are Mr. County Fair, by the way.
Yeah,
you know more about county fairs than anybody in the world.
Who here knew me for 2025? Anyway, to put it bluntly, the reason that numbers are decreasing at county fairs and increasing at other ones is more and more people are saying, I'm not putting up the bullshit.
I love it.
That's just the truth.
That's it. That is exact. We can try to come up with a lot of other reasons, but that is it. Period. Why? I don't know when the last time I attended our county fair, but it's been from a standpoint of my children showing outside of maybe just showmanship.
I'm telling you, I can't remember the last time I went to the Houston County Fair, and it's because I will I won't even go watch it because of the bullshit. I mean, that's why. That is why. Period. There is no politically correct answer for it. That is why.
I love it. That's easy. Second question.
Oh, James Carville, you lost. Poor guy. And he said,
"Are you focused on this?
Yeah.
Or are you still looking?"
Bye, James. Bye, James Carville. Bye.
The next question, and this one, I don't have a name for the next two, actually. And I think maybe they wanted to nominate. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Should a judge at a national show be in the barns before judging for any reason?
No.
Yeah, that's you and I are just no, and it's that simple. I get it. Walk through the barn to get to the ring that morning. I can accept that.
I can accept that. If you have cattle there on display, you need to have people that are capable of doing it for you to be gone, or don't accept the job. Because no, you should not be there. You should not.
No, and
I'm not giving judging team coaches a pass on this either. You've got an assistant. I'm not.
Whether you being there impacts anything at all, it doesn't matter.
It is perception, and it does not matter.
Yeah, I'm with you. So that one's easy.
Nope.
The final question: should camps be allowed to buy fast passes for the same price as individual families?
Yep.
I think, and you can correct me. I believe you would know better with the majors, but I can speak for I think Arizona. I think the fast pass is per trailer. Yes.
So if you all want to go together in one camp, didn't buy you a little pass.
I don't think one fast pass gets 5 trailers of one.
No, it's per trailer, and this goes back to camps and it's the fitters and all this other stuff. I'm gonna say again, I'm gonna defend fitters. I'm gonna defend jockeys. I'm gonna defend brokers because nobody woke up as a used car salesman today and said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to go now jockey sheep and not know anything about it. These people were part of the system, products of the system. They love the system so much. They want to still be involved. That's why. So yes, it's all fair in love and war.
And so for clarification, whether it's a camp or a bunch of individuals that get together, it's paid for per trailer.
Yep.
I think I'm across the board, unless there's a show that I'm unaware of. Well, Ryan, thank you very much. This is a good day. Good episode. Everything is just wonderful. What is it? Butterflies and rainbows and unicorns, right?
Yes, butterflies, rainbows, and unicorns.
Yeah, somebody up in Iowa will approve of that. Do you have any final statement?
Hell to the Chief Trump.
I love it. Until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear? And get the hell out of my country.